This is part 2 of the video where I turn this cardboard box into an album journal. Hi, this is Anna from Crafty Anna Studios. Welcome back to my channel where I post paper crafting and card making tutorials. In part 1, which I will link in the video description below, I showed how I transformed this pancake box into an album journal. I showed how I made the cover, the hinges, and the pages for the album. Now in this video, I will make the inside flip-top pockets and also a side opening pocket for the inside back cover. This is a sample of a finished album, and this is what the inside cover pockets look like. It has a flip-out opening and pockets perfect for placing mini journals, ephemera, and extra photographs. I will also show how to make two kinds of inserts for the pages. One that uses a sheet cut from 12 by 12 patterned paper, and another that uses the offcuts from the same sheet of patterned paper, combining them with some leftover scraps from other projects. And in this album, I alternated their placement in each pocket. First, the full sheet insert, then the combination of offcuts, then a full sheet, then combination, etc. That way, I get to use the offcuts and make the most of the 12 by 12 pattern paper. For the full sheet inserts, I used two 12 by 12 sheets of patterned paper and cut two pieces at 7.5 by 7.5. I bring out my scoreboard and I will score each sheet. I want the flower pattern side of the paper to be the flap, so I will flip the paper to the other side and score it at 4 3/4. I will score the other sheet the same. I will fold it in at the scored line and burnish it with my fingers. Then I will use a corner rounder to round out the corners of each flap. Next, I will insert them into the album pages, alternating them with the other kind of insert. To make the most of a 12 by 12 sheet of patterned paper, I use the offcut to create another insert. This one measures 7.5 by 4 3/4. And for the flap, it's 7.5 by 3 1/4. I will set this aside and score the flap. I place the pattern side facing down on the scoreboard and will score it at 1/2 inch. Then I will fold it in on the scored line. Next, I will cut the corners of the tabs at a slight angle. This is entirely optional, of course. I do this because I like how it looks. Then I will add a generous amount of liquid glue to the inside of the tab. You can use double-sided tape if you prefer. I will place the tab on the underside of the floral pattern, aligning it along the scored line. Then I will close it and press it together to make sure it's adhered well. Then as a finishing touch, I will round out the corners of the flap. Then I will insert it into the page. If you plan to make this album, please share how you will use it, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comments. Next, I will make the inside front cover pocket. For the pocket part, I used another offcut, and this measures 6 7/8 by 4.5. And for the flap, I used a 6 by 6 paper that coordinates, and this measures 5 5/8 by 6 inches. For the pocket, I will score only on 3 sides. Since I want the floral side to be facing up, I will flip it over and place it on my scoreboard. And on the 6 7/8 sides, I will score at 1/2 inch, and then I'll score again at 5/8 of an inch. Then I will turn it to the other side and score again at 1/2 inch, and then at 5/8 of an inch. I will double check the top because this is a directional pattern paper, and at the bottom I will score at 1/2 inch and then at 5/8 of an inch. This 1/8 of an inch gap will serve as the gusset for the pocket. Next, I will miter each corner. I will cut it at an angle to the second scored line, just like this. Then I will turn to the other side and then cut it at an angle meeting the end of that cut. Then I will do the same on the other side. Then I will angle cut the top corners as well. For the flap of the pocket on the 6-inch side, I will score at 1/2 inch. Then I will fold on the scored line. I will angle cut the edges of the tabs as well. And then round out the corners with my corner rounder. Next, I will fold in the tabs of the pocket. So I fold it in on the 1/2 inch line and then also at the 5-inch line. Then I'm going to add glue on the 2 flaps on either side. I place it in the bottom corner of the side flaps because I want to make sure that the bottom flap is on top of the side flap. And then I use my fingers to make sure it's nice and squared. Then I hold it together for a few seconds until it's well adhered. This is where we're going to glue down the pocket, right at the bottom of the inside cover. So I will take my liquid glue and add a generous amount of glue on all sides of the flap. Then I will take it to the inside cover and adhere it to the bottom side, leaving about 1/8 of an inch on either side. Then I will use my bone folder to make sure that it is adhered well. I'm so sorry if my voice sounds a little bit raspy. I have been doing voiceovers for the last 2 days, and I guess it's taking a toll on my voice, so I apologize in advance. Now I will take the top flap, add liquid glue, and adhere it, leaving 1/8 of an inch on the top and on the side. Now I like to add an inside lining, but this is optional. I just like to do it because it looks finished and it also contributes to the stability of the covers. So the inside lining measures 5.5 by 4.5. I add liquid glue to the back, and this actually is another offcut from another piece of pattern paper. So I'm really making the most of my 12 by 12 pattern papers here. So I will adhere it to the inside of the flap and make sure that it's right below the fold line. And that finishes off the front inside pocket. You can of course decorate it any way you want. You can add stickers, ephemera, word sentiments, anything you like to decorate it. Now I will show how to make a side opening pocket for the back. You will need two pieces, one cut at 4 1/4 by 8 3/4. And for the flap, 4 1/2 by 7 1/2. First, I'll score the flap. On the 4 1/2 inch side, I will score at 1/2 inch. Then for the pocket, I will score on 3 sides. So in the 4 1/4 inch side, I will score at 1/2 inch and then at 5/8 of an inch. Then I will turn it to the 8 3/4 inch side and then score it at 1/2 inch and then at 5/8 of an inch. Turn it to the other side and then score again at 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. Then I will miter each corner the same way I did the front pocket. I angle cut it to the second scored line, switch over to the other side and do the same, and then angle cut the top corners. Then I will fold in the scored line pretty much the same way I did for the front inside pocket. I have some card making videos coming out in the next few weeks, and these will primarily focus on Christmas and winter cards. I live in a tropical country where we don't have winters, but I really enjoy making winter style cards. It just, I guess, makes me feel like it's winter when it's not. Now, what sort of holiday cards do you like making? Do you celebrate Christmas? And if you don't, what sort of card or projects, albums, etc. that you make to celebrate your own holiday? I would love to hear about it in the comments below. Now back to the pocket. I'm going to add liquid glue to the bottom corner of the side flap and adhere the bottom flap on top of that. This way, the bottom flap does not interfere with whatever you're going to put into the pocket. I make sure that it's all squared off. Then this will be adhered to the inside back cover, just like this. I'll add a generous amount of liquid glue to the flaps. Then place it down on the inner part of the back cover, leaving 1/8 of an inch at the top and bottom. Then I will use a bone folder to secure it. Before adhering the flap, I will round out the corners. Then I will add liquid glue to the flap. Then place it down on the inside edge, leaving a 1/8 of an inch allowance on the side and the bottom and the top. For the inside pocket lining, this will measure 4 1/2 by 7 1/2. I will add glue at the back and then adhere it to the inside of the pocket. Now let's do a flip through of the album. This journal or album has so many uses. You can decorate it any way you want. You can just change up the pattern paper and the look will be completely different. Lisa, in my last video, in the part 1 video, commented that this could even be a trip journal. You can collect things from your trip, postcards, tickets, maps. Anyway, let me know your ideas on how to use this album in the comments below. And if you don't want to miss any of my upcoming videos, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss it. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful and crafty day. Till next time, bye!